Now, understanding insurance is not always easy, and that's why we have Dr. Nolwandle Mbalo from Standard Insurance to give us the 101 on insurance.
Now, life is all about what is most precious to you, your loved ones, and the things that make you smile, like a new car or maybe your family home. But unfortunately, we cannot always predict what unexpected turn life might take. Now, over the past few weeks, Dr. Nolwandle Mbalo has been taking us through the ins and outs of insurance in order to help us arm ourselves with the knowledge we need to protect that we value most. However, times are tough, and we all work very hard for our pennies, and many of us might be left wondering, are the premiums we pay worth it, and how exactly can we position ourselves to get the most out of our protection? Dr. Nolwandle is back with us this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Lovely to have you. The thing about insurance, it's an ongoing discussion, and especially I think now, we dealt with car insurance last week, and I want to touch on that a little bit further with regards to those premiums. I think most are feeling the financial pinch. The rise of, basic food prices, petrol is skyrocketing at this stage, and it might drive a lot of people to think about starting to cancel insurance policies. Let's say about like your car insurance. I mean, it's one of the first things that people start wondering about. But why do we need to rethink that? Why should you say we should just hang on before we start cancelling?
You're quite right. We need to acknowledge the fact that times are tough for a lot of people. And it's very easy to look in terms of what is the insurance worth in terms of your life. And it's also a dangerous part because you still have the assets. You're referring to the car. You still need to drive your car to work, and you need to make sure that you're protected, because in as much as the premiums, the times are tough, the risk of actually losing that asset or being damaged still remains high. It doesn't actually reduce. So we need to ensure that we are covered. Yeah. And there's ways that one can actually look in terms of reducing that premium and ensuring that you don't cancel.
Yeah, so because I want to touch on that, because if you take a look at something like a car, which is in South Africa, it's a necessity. People need cars. Public transport isn't always readily available, and you're spending a lot of money on a vehicle, money that you can't fork out once again if something goes wrong. And I think that is important. That's why I still pay my premium as well, even though you are toying with the idea of maybe I can save that 500 Rand here or there. Now, why is it that insurance premiums increase over time, and how do you manage it so it doesn't become completely out of hand and out of budget?
Yeah. So there's two ways, the main drivers of increase in the premiums. Number one is around, it's driven from an inflation point of view. And how inflation impacts on the insurance premium is around the cost of repairs. For your jewelry items, the fluctuations in that price, we need to make sure that for the projected cost to replace that item, that is in line. So we don't actually underinsure you, or we underpay for what the value is. Yeah. It is important for the consumer to ensure that the items that are actually included in the cover are still relevant today, because you could have that 20-year-old item that you've always actually kept there, and the value to replace that is quite minuscule compared to the premium that you pay.
Now, of course, when it comes to insurance packages, every insurance package offers something different. What do you feel is some of the most important points that we need to look out for if we really want to have a kind of an insurance setup that serves us best, you as an individual?
You have individual needs. I often say that insurance is about replacing you or placing you in the same position as you were before. Yeah. Understanding what position that you are in and what implications this will have on you should you be involved in an incident is important part. So you should be covered for damage as well as total losses. And the elements that you're actually covering, those actually have to be the specific items for certain that in the event of unforeseen incident of a damage or loss, you will be actually covered, that your insurer will be in a position to pay for that. So reading the terms and conditions, Ewan, is actually quite important. And I know that when you go and buy that vehicle, you're only concentrating on the vehicle and driving out of the parking lot. What is more important is also listening to what is actually covered in that vehicle. Yeah. And coming into your house, you've got valuable items. You need to specify those items, because you don't want to be sitting with a situation at claim stage. You realize that because you've not specified, you cannot actually be indemnified appropriately. So it's really important from a consumer point that we take closer look in terms of those terms and conditions and what is actually included in the package that we're taking.
I think a lot of people make that mistake of not doing that because it's just insurance and I need to insure it. That's what happens. But look at those T's and C's. Nolwandle, thank you very much for coming through and educating us once again. But it really seems to come down to the fact that information is key, and knowing what you are paying for ensures that you get the most out of your cover. After all, we all want to protect what matters to us most. We wouldn't be human if we didn't. But a very big thank you once again to Nolwande and also Standard Insurance Limited for shining a light on the little things that many of us do not understand before we make those big decisions that could be life-changing in the end.
Protect your next with Standard Insurance Limited. Get up to 20% cash back on your premiums. SMS Expresso to 31492 for a quote.